In this segment, we're going to be discussing, who's kind of to blame here for Labour's polling in their kind of direction a little bit.
Are you surprised that things have got so difficult so quickly? And who do you blame for that?
Well, we always knew that we were going to inherit a terrible fiscal situation, so that didn't come as a surprise. I've been surprised by policies that the party has chosen to pursue. If the party's ambitious and is serious about tackling child poverty, then you need to abolish the key driver of child poverty in the UK, which is a two-child benefit cap.
Which is something we've talked about a lot on this channel. It wouldn't cost them a lot to abolish it. And the other thing is it would put more money back into the economy because you'd have more people with disposable income. You'd also have situations where, in the UK, we have some of the lowest, some of the shortest, I think, people in Europe. And that's partly down to the fact that kids aren't eating properly because their parents can't afford it. You're taking essentially resources that the NHS won't need as much as well. You can free up that because there'll be less kids going to hospital for poor diets or malnutrition. Because I think they've done studies into it that kids that are generally poorer can be obese because they're healthy junk foods are generally cheaper. So again, there's lots of things like that which would have knock-on effects which would be positive for the economy that Labour just aren't doing, and it's quite frustrating to kind of watch it from the sidelines.
And then also
But they're not saying they want to do that.
In our manifesto, we said we were going to have an ambitious strategy to tackle child poverty. Again, vague, not much detail, but that's what that should mean, surely, if you want to tackle child poverty.
I mean,
it's true. If you are truly ambitious about eradicating child poverty, then you've got to get rid of the biggest factor in child poverty, and one of those is the two-child cap. And so, Zara Sultana is right here. They were very vague, and they did it on purpose.
You said, but we're not going to raise that cap, and you stood on that platform, didn't you?
So I stood on a platform to tackle child poverty, and for me, that means abolishing the two-child benefit cap, but also...
This is one of the problems with being so vague in terms of policies, because people can flip it back on you, and that's what she's doing here.
What wasn't in the manifesto was means testing winter fuel payments, which the party has done, and that, again, is going to put pensioners in poverty, and I had to vote against it.
Are you looking forward to rejoining the party in January?
Absolutely. I joined the Labour Party as a 17-year-old.
Sounds like you're not sure about the direction right now.
Well, I'm worried about the direction because a Labour Party should not be putting pensioners in poverty, and it should be pulling kids out of poverty. That's the Labour Party I joined as a 17-year-old.
Which is true, like that. The Labour Party should not be in the business of impoverishing children and pensioners. It should be looking to bring those, especially those two groups, out. Pensioners being people who are towards the end of life, who've generally worked most of their lives. Even then, if they haven't worked, if they were stay at home or whatever, people still deserve to have a decent quality of life in this country. And it has a knock-on effect on the NHS if they're taken ill, because generally older people need longer hospital stays because they have multiple illnesses and need more care. So again, keeping children in poverty. I mean, is that the Labour Party that people wanted? Keeping the two-child cap. You can do other policies. You can do these breakfast clubs and stuff. But it's, what Starmer was against, sticking plaster politics. That's what he talked about. Getting rid of the two-child cap would have the most impact. If you're looking for value for money, getting rid of the two-child cap would have the most impact in helping people. And I think, she kind of says it there. She's worried about the direction of the Labour Party, or at least that's what the journalist was trying to kind of get her to say. But I am worried about the direction of the Labour Party. I don't think it's going in a good way. And, the poll numbers kind of reflect that. There's a lot of kind of uncomfortability around it. I think a lot of older people are concerned about what Labour are going to do next, because getting rid of the winter fuel allowance was just stupid in the way that they've done it. If they want to means test it, set the means test way higher rather than setting it at £12,000. It doesn't make sense. The fact that the pension credit form is 250 pages is crazy to me. In a country that doesn't have a lot of community centres, and in a country where older people don't have a lot of support and are stupid in the sense of they don't ask for support when they really should. Some of those people have way too much pride. They really should ask for more help here, but we're in a country which doesn't offer them a ton of support. It's kind of paradoxical in a sense. They don't want to be a burden on people, and then ultimately they are a burden on people because they need medical help because their house is too cold. They can't survive in these kind of temperatures. Labour better hope we don't have a cold winter. They better hope they come up with something soon on child poverty, because this is a complete joke of a party. The so-called party of workers. A so-called party of helping people, bringing people out of poverty. I'm just not seeing it. The winter fuel allowance isn't even a Tory policy. It's a Labour policy that was pushed by Gordon Brown because he saw the effects of fuel poverty. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to do the winter fuel allowance, in order to help get people out of fuel poverty. Universality ruins the stigma that people kind of have when they take, benefits, or when they take money from the state. I'm not angry. I'm more disappointed, I think. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still disappointed in this party. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.